Another type of parabola equation. This equation is given in quadratic form instead of the vertex form. So we cannot look at it and just pick out a vertex like we did before. Now you're used to quadratic formula. We used it before. It works the same. The a is the number in front of the x squared, the b is the number in front of the x, and the c is the whole number. This time we don't really care about the c. If you look up at the formula up top, we are going to do negative b over 2a, and that's going to give us our x value for our vertex. Then we're going to take that answer and plug it in the original equation, and that will give us our y value for our vertex. So let's try this on an example. On this one, we have x squared minus 4x minus 2. We cannot pick out the vertex. We need to use the formula. So I'm going to get my a. My a would be a 1. That's the number in front of the x squared. My b would be a negative 4. That's the number in front of the x. Now, to get the x value for my vertex, it's going to be negative b over 2 times a. That's going to be a negative 4 over 2 times 1. And that turns out to be a positive 2. To get my y value for my vertex, I take that positive 2 and I plug it back in the original equation. So that's going to be 2 squared minus 4 times 2 minus 2. That's 4 minus 8, which is negative 4. And then negative 4 minus 2 is negative 6. So what I just found out is my vertex for this equation is 2, negative 6. Now we're going to do an XY chart, just like we've done on the previous problems. Now that we have our vertex, we can figure this out pretty simply. Do an XY chart, put your 2, negative 6 in the middle. So in other words, I'm going right 2, down 6 over here on my graph. That's my vertex. I also know that I have an axis of symmetry at x equals 2 here. Going straight down through there. Because when your x is squared, your axis of symmetry is going to be x equals whatever your x value for your vertex is. Now I want to try x's to the left of 2 and to the right of 2. So I'm going to try negative 1 and 0. And I'm going to, positive 1 and 0. And I'm going to try two numbers to the right, which would be positive 3, positive 4. So let's try the 0 first. You're going to take that 0 and you're going to plug it into the original equation up top. So that's going to be 0 squared minus 4 times 0 minus 2. And that will give me a negative 2. Because of symmetry, I know when x is 0, y is negative 2, and when x is 4, y is negative 2. Now let's try the 1. You can try 1 or you can try 3. You'll get the same answer. I'm going to try 1 because it's smaller. I'm going to take the 1 and I'm plugging it in here in the original equation. That's going to give me 1 squared minus 4 times 1 minus 2. That's 1 minus 4, which is negative 3. And then negative 3 minus 2 is negative 5. So I'm going to go over here and I'm going to put negative 5 here for 1 and negative 5 here for 3. Now let's plot our points. When x is 0, y is negative 2. When x is 1, y is negative 5. When x is 3, y is negative 5. And when x is 4, y is negative 2. Oops, let me draw a better parabola than that. Our parabola will look something like that. So we did the same thing, we just had to use a formula to get the vertex first.